right? We heard that the personal is political. That was part of the feminist call, the second wave feminist call, Betty Friedan and the other feminists that you mentioned in the 60s and 70s. Ought there to be a line between the political and the personal? Or are women's choices inherently political and subject to sort of larger societal debate?
I just would love to see us get away from measuring women's progress and men's progress separately. I just think we are linked and our fates, as we said earlier, are connected. And to see it in terms of a competition between the sexes is very unhelpful and reductionist, and actually it doesn't teach us very much.
So that's a complete dodge of the question. The question was, should there be a line between the personal and the political, or is a woman's decision inherently political and should be debated in open society? That's the question. And her answer is she would like to see, or she would love to see women's progress, men's progress measured, or not measured separately. Now, is that a capitulation to the war, to the gender war? Does that mean men have won the gender war? So what is she saying here? Like the women have got themselves into this situation where men are just walking away in droves, right? And they haven't said it in this talk, but women want to marry up. She's saying our men and women are entwined, our futures are entwined, and we need to look at it in a more holistic approach, I think is what she's saying. Well, men have discovered that we don't need women. Right? Even men who are with women know that they don't need them in their lives. And there's no, like the majority of people, children in the world, and at least in the Western world, grow up without a father figure in the household. So men have taken it on board that the women need men like a fish needs a bicycle. We've walked away, and now the women are saying, well, hang on a minute, we're not as strong and independent as we thought. At least that's what I'm getting from this woman. She's saying, the gender war, we're not capitulating, it's not even a truce. We're just saying, we can't compete, basically. And you see that in the trans athletes in women's sport, So the women have got themselves in this position, and men aren't interested anymore in listening to this bullshit. It's over.
I do think that, of course, there are instances where women are discriminated against in the workplace, and that is illegal, and it has been since 1963, and, that's good.
Well, thank you for that. Okay, women are discriminated against in the workforce. Men are discriminated against in the workforce as well. Okay, both genders face discrimination of varying degrees in the workforce, and it is illegal, and the laws are on the books. They're there to be enforced. So can we please put that topic to bed? That can go in the drawer along with the pay gap myth. Okay, I'm not saying discrimination in the workforce is a myth. What I'm saying is both genders are discriminated against. It's illegal. The laws are there to be enforced. Enforce them, and let's move on. Okay, 1963. All right, just fuck right off, women. Fuck off. I'll also add to that and say, look, she's saying this because she wants to keep on side with the feminists. Right? This is what she's doing here. She's espousing a heretical view, and she's mitigating any kind of cancellation that might be coming by appeasing to the feminists, saying, "Oh, look, women are still the victims in the piece." So that's obvious. So I'll just point that out. I guess point out the obvious.
But this sort of relentless focus on those kinds of things, which they happen, but honestly, in our society, compared with some of the things we were discussing earlier, like the decline of family life and what that's doing to middle and lower class people in America, and how blighted their lives are because they don't have that stability. I think those are much more urgent matters for us to be worried about than whether the next CEO of Google is a woman.
Right. So here's more word salad from the fucking feminists. Okay. The blight in middle and lower class America due to the breakup of the nuclear family, that's planned by feminists, right? That's in their literature. That's exactly what they want, and they've got what they want, right? So what are you saying? That is what all of the third wave feminists wanted, right? To just destroy the nuclear family, get women into the workforce, and get the men out of the houses, put everyone on welfare, and bring in socialist America. Right, and they're getting there. They've got Biden on their side now, so they're getting there. Don't worry about that one. Okay, now, as far as her second point there, the next CEO of Google is a woman. That's not discrimination in the workplace. All right, she's just stopped talking about the legality of discrimination in the workplace, and the laws are on the books, and then she equates that with getting to the top of the business. Getting to the top of the business is not about discrimination. Okay, it's about merit. It needs to be about merit. And women have got to get off this, there should be more representation on the boards of directors and all the rest of it. The women who are on those boards have got up there through merit. Now, and if to change that, you're going to kill your economy. It's just like the ridiculous idea that any woman can sit on a board of directors and actually achieve anything it's a load of crap. And women have got to understand this for the sake of the Western world.
So I'll ask one final question, and then we'll take your questions. And I'm really looking forward to that, because I think obviously we have some differences, but we come at this both from a skeptical perspective of feminism, and I'm sure that given the audience of this festival, there will be a lot of you who have a different perspective. So the final question I would ask then is, do you think that, because you do mention that you think that some of the gains of the feminist movement have been positive, do you think that today feminism is a net negative or a net positive for the modern woman?
I think it's a net negative because the most important, the denial of reality that you have to undertake. We didn't even touch on abortion, which I think is a serious or divorce, right? Which are serious problems. So on net, I do think, again, I don't wish to be misunderstood. Of course, women should have choices. They should do what they want. I don't think and anybody who doesn't want children definitely should not have them. There shouldn't be the expectation. So in that sense, I think it's opened up so many opportunities. So rather than answer your question in positive, negative, I would just say that we have to bear in mind that we're grown-ups, and that life is full of trade-offs, and that you have to decide. You cannot, it's kind of a childish approach to say, I want it all, and what's in it for me and having it all, and all of that focus on me, me, me. I mean, one of the best things about us is when we care for each other, and when we're part of the family is the first network of mutual aid and the best one that's ever been devised, and maintaining its strength is I think a real challenge of our time, and if feminists would get on board with that, then I would happily call myself one.
So this woman apparently has held some pretty high-powered positions. She was some kind of political advisor to some. I can't remember what her. It's a few days ago now that I saw the start of this. This I don't know what to call it, an interview or something. So the question is, do you think for modern women, feminism is positive or negative? And she comes out with saying it's negative, and I think you'd find that most women agree with that. They won't identify as feminists today. At least a lot of them don't. There's only a minority of women identify as feminists. But the thing is that all the laws that the feminists have got on the books are still there. So the women, even though they're not identifying as feminists, they're still benefiting from it. Feminist lobby groups and what have you for the last 30, 40 years, 50 years, to do with, divorce laws and no-fault divorce, etc., abortion, etc., getting men into the position where you're just a wallet or an ATM, and then she carries on with, look, women should have choices and they should be able to do anything. They can do whatever they want, make any decision they like, blah 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 blah, and we're adults. We've got to understand that there's ups and downs in life, etc., etc. No mention of the word accountability or responsibility as an adult for women. Like, you can do whatever you like, be empowered, blah, 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 but you're not accountable or responsible for anything at all. So, women, they're adults, but they behave like children. And you see that today with modern women. They can wear whatever they like, do whatever they like, go wherever they like. Men have to pay for it, of course. And when the chips are down, when the shit hits the fan, blame the nearest man. That's modern women today. And she's saying that's all right. That's what they should be doing. But then goes on to say, the family, most important, the best unit, etc., etc. Well, as far as the West goes, the men are leaving in droves. Okay, and rightly so, in my opinion. MGTOW in the West just has to happen, and just for the individual man, you've just got to say enough's enough. We're not gonna plough away on that plantation for no result, and possibly a loss of everything. So no, okay, finished. And the women, when they're standing at the altar, they've already got Plan B and sometimes Plan C in place. So no, Western men, MGTOW's the answer.
So you would become one of the 1/3.
Yes.
Like to open it up for questions. I would ask that, first of all, that it be a question, although you're more than welcome to frame that how you wish, and also that you would wait, even though we're kind of in an intimate environment here and we can probably all hear each other, you wait for the mic because there's a video recording, so we won't be able to hear your question on the video recording if you don't wait for the mic. Right here in the back in the blue shirt.
Thank you. So to your comment about women staying home with their children and that being maybe in the best interest of the children, my question to you is, how do you rationalize that in an economy where two incomes are increasingly needed, and in such a fast-changing economy with AI, it's harder to step out and then find employment once you get back in?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't deny that those are real challenges. It's it's hard to get by on one income, and it is hard to get back, or it can be a little bit tricky to get back into the workforce after you've been out. There is the option of part-time work, which helps to ease that, which is what I did when I was home with my kids. But then again, I would just say, compared to what, right? I mean, it is. Would you say that if you knew that you're taking another year or so to get back into the workforce after you had taken a break, would mean that your child would not wind up with learning disabilities or with with social problems or with any other kinds of issues because you were there, or that you helped them with those challenges?
Oh, these feminists, they're just so out of touch. Okay, like they've really got no idea about what they're talking about. Okay, so the woman said, the question was, how do you rationalise stepping out of the workforce, having time off, etc. And you're back on one income, and increasingly you need two to survive. And then with the advent of AI, it's difficult to get back into the workforce. That whole question is a load of crap for a start, and then the answer is just. I mean, look, put it this way, okay? So you've got down at the bottom of society, you've got the women who work in factories. Okay, they're on the factory floor in production roles, whatever that might be. And they, pregnancy for them is a retirement plan. Okay? They married or not, around about 26, 27, they'll have a baby and they'll drop out. And there's no going back part-time. You can't, you're on shift in a factory, and if you don't turn up for your shift, you're out the door. There's casual employment for most of it. Now there's also the gig economy at the moment, so that changes things a little bit. But there's fuck all women who want to deliver Uber Eats all day, and you've got to do it all day to make ends meet. It's not like you're going to be a millionaire off Uber Eats. So, the feminists here on the stage, they don't have a fucking clue. They're not. That's not part of their idea of what life's like. They're academics. They're college educated. They can come and go as they please. They can work from home. They can write books. They can navel gaze forever. And of course the women will buy their books and think that they're actually saying something when they've got no idea what they're talking about at all. It's all pie in the sky, rubbish built on anecdotes and junk science, with a little bit of Marxism thrown in just for good measure, and it's it is absolute bullshit that is almost completely irrelevant. And as far as AI goes, I've done a bit of AI work with my in IT, and this is to do with automating business systems, which is one of my fields of expertise. And I have done a little bit with machine learning, and I've done mostly narrow predictive AI for around business decisions, because 60% of your business decisions are preordained. They're in as part of the business process. So, a certain level of management can make a decision, yes or no, and anything they can't decide gets bumped up, which is today just send an email. So you can get a narrow predictive AI doing all that without any problem at all. It just wipes out a whole tier of middle management. But having said that, This woman's saying with the advent of AI, it's going to make getting back into the workplace more difficult. Well, it's possible, but as far as general AI goes, that's still decades away. That's like it's hard to predict what the future, but as far as today's world goes, no, there's no AI going to take over human jobs in that regard. Like if you've got a middle management position and you're on maternity leave, you'll get that position back. Businesses aren't aware of how easy it is to actually automate these processes, so you get that. But so she's not rationalising anything. She's just off in cloud cuckoo land. Both of these two on the stage are.
It's a balance.
I would add one thing to that. I think we're going to see an enormous opportunity now that we do have a lot more working from home, a lot more remote, and a lot more gig economy style employment. Actually, where I write, The Federalist, we have an enormous number of talented women who actually left the workforce, or at least full-time workforce, when they had children, and because they wanted to, they made that choice happily, but they've found a voice writing now from home in a way that's flexible and allows them to meet their family commitments. But I realize that media is kind of a unique thing, and you're talking about, for example, law is the same way. I have a law degree. Big law is the same way. There are fields in which if you take the off-ramp, it's very hard to get back on.
Yeah,
but I think there will be more of those opportunities in the future. And I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure the statistic is in here somewhere, but still the largest plurality of women say that the ideal situation for them once they have children is part-time work.
That's right. Yeah.
Gentleman here.
I'm asking this question just so I can better digest what you discussed. Can you, as clearly as you can, please define the term feminist and also feminist movement, just so I can relate that to what was discussed today?
Well, you've asked an impossible question because the movement has meant many different things to different people over time. It has meant the original feminists were the suffragettes who wanted just political rights. Then the equity feminists came along, and then the gender feminists. And there have been many other tributaries since then. So it isn't as easy as to say being a feminist means that you believe in women's equality. But it's just not, because it has come to encompass a lot of other things, beliefs about sexuality, about family, about the workplace, about abortion. And so it's a whole grab bag of things, and you'll get different answers. I bet if you go to feministing.com, you would get a different definition than if you went to Think Progress. So it's impossible to say what the actual definition is.
Or, for that matter, ask 10 women who do identify as feminists what their definitions would be outside of the media and academic world, just ordinary women.
You've got to laugh at this, honestly, some pesky man in the audience pipes up and says, what exactly is feminism? What is a feminist? Can you define it? Now, that would be impossible. We don't actually know what we're talking about. There's no real definition for it. It's just a grab bag of things. And if you just go and ask any woman on the street, you'll get a different answer. It's not about equality, I can tell you that. They've just spent the best part of an hour up on the stage discussing a book that's been written about feminism, and they're unable to actually tell you what the book's about. It's this ludicrous, ridiculous fucking situation these women have got themselves in. It's unbelievable how adults can actually have this such a disjointed, dislocated view of the world around them and reality in general. Like, it is truly a lesson in how not to think should be given to young people. You know, like feminism should be pilloried from every angle. It is the most ridiculous thing that's ever come out of a university. It truly is. It's got nothing to offer the world at all. It is just, it's like a Monty Python fucking film, except that Monty Python were ridiculing the situation, whereas these women are actually serious. They believe that the book is worth talking about for an hour, and they can't even define what the subject of the book is. This is how ludicrous the situation is with feminism, and it is destroying the Western world. You know, the damage it's done is irreparable. The families are not going to get back together again. The men are walking away. They've had enough of it. The women are taking on board, we can do anything, blah, 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 without any responsibility, which is the feminist ideal. And babies dropping left, right and centre, the ones that actually survived the incubation period, they're not aborted on the way out. And, it's just, what good has it actually done anyone at all, this feminism? Is the world better off because these idiots coming out of university have actually got anything worthwhile to say at all? And now we've got the CRT and propaganda getting taught to the children in schools, the little babies in schools with very malleable minds, instead of learning read, write, arithmetic, etc., and getting ahead. They're being told that they need to feel like a giraffe one day and a fucking, boy or a girl or something in between the next. It's just like, feminism and the latest form of feminism has got absolutely nothing to add or to enrich modern society at all, at all. And men, MGTOW, we're out of it. We're going our own way, and it's not a protest, and we're not agitating for change or anything like that. But if people can't see what this feminism is doing to them, then so be it. That's on you. You're an adult now. You make your decisions. MGTOW, just we're walking away. Put it down. Walk away.